Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome in and welcome back to Wildcast Christmas Studios on Rogers TV for another episode of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats presented. I might be in the eggnog. I don't even know yet. Presented by Alpha's Appliance.
Adam is in one.
The premier destination for all KitchenAid, Whirlpool, and Maytag appliances in Moncton. Right now, they got the Jen Air Luxury Redefined event. Save 15 when you purchase any 2 or 3 qualifying Jen Air products. Save 20% when you purchase any 4 from now till November 1st. Welcome in, everyone. As always, I am your host. I'm going to try to make it through it. It's a long episode, and I'm in the eggnog. Just kidding. I am joined by your favorite co-hoster, Mr. YQM, Mr. Starbucks, kind of.
Not tonight. It's the Pink Shaker Cup.
The Pink Shaker Cup. Mr. Jeremy Boucher, final week before Christmas. You told Rick not to give you a heart attack. How's your heart doing?
You know what? So far, so good. It's hasn't been too dramatic, I guess, as of yet when it comes to the trade period. Can't say the same for the pregnancy appointments. It was quite the adventure there this morning, and to give you a full scoop here. So went for just, I guess, a checkup, and there was a med student there, lovely gentleman by the name of Gabriel, I think his name was, and great guy.
Yep.
Did the whole questionnaire and all that stuff, and then basically said, we're gonna take the heartbeat check or whatever for the kids. So, lubes up his little thing there and
jellies it up.
Jelly, whatever. Lube, jelly, it's whatever.
Family show.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And then rubs it on Megan's.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
Rubs it on Megan's tummy. Rubs the lube on Megan's tummy, and moves it around a little.
See, that's why you start with jelly, not lube.
Rubs it around a little bit.
Jelly.
Yeah.
It's
rubs it around a little bit, and looking for the heartbeat, and we're sitting there. We're like, it's where is it?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we started hearing a heartbeat, and he's like, "Oh, that's yours," as in Megan's. And we're like, "Oh, this is interesting." He's like, I'm gonna go get the doctor. So he leaves us in this room for about 20 minutes, and we're stressing out a little bit, and try not to worry. And then all of a sudden, the doctor comes in, and she's got like this palm-sized ultrasound machine,
right? And
she does the jelly, and obviously we heard it and we saw it kicking, so it was pretty neat. It was kind of a little sigh of relief after 20 minutes of concern, but so nothing against Mr. The med student, but yeah, it was a little bit of a concern for a little bit, but all is well.
It's just the smallest things that if there's any, especially when it's you've waited so long, and kind of a surprise, for lack of a better term, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm just gonna go get the doctor.
Yeah.
Especially for like dads, right? Like we're not, especially when they start. You're not in the room while they're looking for anything. They don't tell you anything. You're just like, I'm just gonna wait, and I can't really do much.
Just hanging out.
Really gonna pretend that nothing's weird. Oh God. And
that's pretty much how it felt. It was a very, very long 20 minutes, but like I said, everything turned out well. Everything's going very well. It was kicking. It was it was like almost like having a party. It was moving his arms and moving his legs.
It's crazy how fast the heartbeat is, eh? It's like 180,
150, 160. Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
Like that would be my heart rate if I had like 3 Monster energy drinks, right? So it's weird how it's like, don't drink too much Monsters, your heart will race. Also, here's your 3-month-old baby with a 160 beat per second or minute, whatever it is, beats per minute heart rate. That's crazy. I don't understand how it's possible, but it is what it is.
That's actually where I was. When was your appointment? Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, mine was last Friday. Went into find out, make sure the little one was growing. She's growing
good
percentile. Looks like we are aiming for the 27th, 38, 39 weeks. So we went in to find out when we could, how long, if they wanted to bring
close
her out early.
That Rimouski game.
Bring her out early, bring her out, like how long to wait, because, my wife, God love her, she's type A. So she puts all the scenarios and all the stuff together. And so, yeah, she's like 38, 39 weeks. And there I am. That's January 26th. And the doctor's like,
let that happen.
Well, the 25th or the 24th is the Friday. So
right.
I was like, that's that week. And the doctor's like, oh, is something happening that week? And Layla's like, yeah,
hockey game.
So he wants to
very important.
He wants to do it on the Sunday where there's no game and they're not at home for another week. And so the doctor looks at me and goes, yeah, I mean, it will also go to the actual surgeon, like our actual OBGYN. Like it's her schedule and how the OR looks. And we do our best. And I'm like, no, yeah, I get that. I'm not like set in stone. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, it's just, if it could, that would be really cool because I want to go see the Rimouski game. So
I think we all do at this point.
But yeah, that's what we're basically trending to the end of January, provided she doesn't decide to show up early, which we're okay with. She is growing. She's right where she needs to be.
Good.
Awesome. A lot of kids that are born in this final trimester kind of thing don't even need the NICU, and it's we delivered some more boxes for Layla's Big Hearts Little Stars program, and saw one of the psychologists that got me through a lot of after that, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm not, and her office is down the hallway, so that was the first time I'd been in labor delivery since. Layla had to go in because she had to get checked out because the baby moved and wasn't kicking or moving as much as she normally is, so she just went to get checked, and all the nurses are like walking by. Oh, what are you doing here? It moved and it transitioned and it's not kicking. So I'm like, oh, no, that's perfect. That's what we want you to do. Just keep showing up. Like, it's like she's the most important. And then that's perfect. But that was first. She went into the actual room and I had to make that walk down the hallway to deliver boxes. And Ronnie came out. And as soon as she came out of the door, I was looking at the door, like all the other doors like this, just like not focusing on the NICU that's at the end because... And I said, I'm not going in there. So neither are you, little one. So you better show up. And so now Layla's getting her birth plan ready. She's getting the birth bag, all the items. I went in and I was a PS5/TV in case I need something to do. But no, it's
coming
fun.
fast.
Yeah, we got the rest of the room now. I got to put the car seat back. Got to reinstall the car seat, which is always fun. And just like
look at us being all dad talk.
I know.
I have to change this show around.
That's what I said. I can't. Are you guys finding out?
Eventually, a few weeks ago we were planning a party, but I think we're just gonna find out and just do whatever.
I have the best way for you.
I was planning a wrestling match, like a TLC match, a gender reveal party.
Yeah.
No, Megan wasn't going to let that happen.
I'm not going to spoil it here, but remind me after the show to show you a TikTok with one of the cooler gender reveals because it's kind of hockey themed, but kind of not hockey themed. But
okay,
I think it would be kind of fun. All right, as always, don't forget. No Hell's Kitchen this past week.
That's right. Probably
not into the Christmas season, and we're done for a couple weeks. So. When we get back, we'll talk about the winner. Don't forget, as always, you can follow us on the social medias, Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, Wildcast Podcast, where we've done some of our Christmas movie rankings. And as well, here on YouTube, don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button. Lets us know you like what we're doing. Click the bell so you don't miss any podcast, post games, or any content coming up this season. Good sir, I have a Christmas themed quick question for us this week.
Okay.
Because we got a mega show. We got lots of time. So I guess first, before we get into the question part of it, adulting sucks. It really does.
Adulting?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
What do you miss the most about the Christmas period from being a kid that you don't get to experience now being an adult?
It's a good question.
Yeah. While you think on that
question,
mine, while you think, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just no responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like we went out, we weren't even doing Christmas shopping. I went to buy the shirt because I was going to find a Christmas sweater for the final game, and just being out in traffic and how everything is strip mall type big box stores, and how everything's ordered online. Like it was crazy amount of traffic. I just miss. Now my town had one store, so we had to do that. But when we went to Calgary, it was go there, spend time at the mall. You spend a whole day doing your Christmas shopping. You're, with family. You don't have any responsibilities of work. You can just do whatever you want. But it was that. It was just going to a mall as a kid with limited responsibilities and being able to Christmas shop for everyone without having to go store to store to store and drive in the traffic.
It's not a bad one. I was going to go more towards actually having white Christmases. We had a nice amount of snow here, a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden we had 13 degrees this day, and then another 13 degrees this day, and all of a sudden it's gone. So growing up, I just remember every Christmas being a white Christmas and being able to go outside in Christmas break and just mess around and build forts and take the GT down the hill up the street.
Racer. Yeah.
And now it's just, we don't get white Christmas anymore. We're probably have another green Christmas by the sounds of it. And I'm
going to look at the weather.
I don't think I'll ever be able to get on the GT again. I'm just way too old for that.
Never say never.
Oh, but yeah, that's kind of what I miss is literally growing up and having, 2 feet of snow on the ground every Christmas morning.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Living in Alberta, you get Christmas, you get cold and snow and cold.
Yeah.
December 24th is -10 with a 40% chance of snow and just about a centimeter. So maybe just enough to make it a white Christmas. And that's a great answer because I kind of forgot about that white Christmas part. What are you looking for?
Never mind.
All right, cool. All right, so when you're there and you're enjoying Christmas with the old famille and you have no responsibilities and no school, so you can stay up late all night.
That's right.
You get to watch Christmas movies.
Yeah, it's very true. Watched a lot over the weekend.
Yeah, so I got 9 here.
Okay.
Now you're going to pick 4 and you're going to get rid of 5.
Okay.
So
on the top of the Christmas movies,
yeah, I
got to say there's one that they added to Netflix on Friday called Carry On.
Yeah.
It's almost like a modern day Die Hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very good. Like a very good movie. It's basically, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's on Netflix. Pretty good. Stars Jason Bateman.
Well,
and
okay.
It's a really probably one of the better movies that's a Netflix only movie that I've seen in a very, very long time. And it's Christmas. It's a Christmas movie too. So, anyways,
I do enjoy Jason Bateman, and I do enjoy new movies.
So I'm taking how many of these off?
5.
I'm taking 5 of these off.
You have to pick 4.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so not making this very easy on me tonight. No. So 4 Christmases. I know you like it. I'm not a big fan.
All right.
Reese Witherspoon's nice to look at, but it's not something I'm going to sit down and watch every holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Deck the Halls. Those 2 I don't really necessarily watch every Christmas, so I can take those 2 off for sure. I can probably take the Santa Claus off too, because again, I can't remember the last time I watched that. And same for
that's 3 so far.
Same for the Grinch. I mean, I watched bits and pieces of the Grinch last night, but there's 4. I need to take 1 more off.
1 more off.
Oh God, I hate to do this, but put that cookie down now. Jingle all the way. I take it off. It's great. It's a fantastic movie, but the whole basis behind the movie of him for an hour and 15 minutes of an hour and 30-minute movie just searching for a toy.
Yeah.
It's you need to have a Christmas feel. If it's a Christmas, yes, it's a Christmas movie, but there has to be a feel to it. And it just, to me, I mean, it's a good movie, but not a big fan.
So your keepers are Elf.
My keepers are Elf, Christmas with the Cranks, Home Alone, and Bad Santa. Because it's Bad Santa. You get it.
It was Bad Santa. As I was putting that on there, because there was a couple movies that they just like the Polar Express. I've never seen it, so that's an easy one. The Christmas Story. I haven't seen it since like the 90s, so that was an easy one. But as soon as I put Bad Santa on there, all I was thinking about is I'm on my lunch break. and then the kid where he's just like driving him home. He's like, "Is Granny spry?" I was just killing myself. So, yeah, Jingle All the Way, Deck the Halls are my two. Good
night, Santa. Good night, Mrs. Santa.
Yeah, it's so good.
I said next, goddammit.
You just looking up quotes and just thinking of
yeah, I was looking up quotes. I just like it's so perfect.
It's so good.
Oh, it's not a kid movie.
No, it's definitely not a kid movie. It's one I gotta watch. I gotta watch that again.
Oh, my eyes are widened.
I know.
Yes, sir.
My 4. I'm gonna go with Elf. Oh man, this is harder than I actually thought it would be.
You've never watched Christmas with the Cranks, which is kind of disappointing.
No,
but...
so that's probably off. So Deck the Halls, Jingle All the Way, Christmas with the Cranks, just because I haven't seen it. That'll change next year. I will watch that.
Good.
For sure. So that's 3. Oh man, Santa Claus. Oh, that leaves me Elf, Grinch, 4 Christmases, Home Alone, and Bad Santa. Oh man. I've been talking up 4 Christmases forever. So I got Elf, Grinch, 4 Christmases, in between Home Alone and Bad Santa. I think I got to get rid of Bad Santa.
Ugh.
As much as I don't like that. Yeah, so now we're going to try and put Bad Santa quotes. Next year, we'll just try to put Bad Santa quotes in for the podcast.
More booze, more bullshit, more butt.
I gotta get through this, man.
Yeah,
have you heard the conspiracy on the Santa Claus movie? How the elves made Scott push him off the thing so they get a new Santa. There's like a whole dark conspiracy on it. And then the Home Alone, how he spent $20 on food in 2018, I think, down in the States.
Yeah.
His whole haul was like $48.
Yeah.
And now it's $72 or $78.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my God. That was a good time. So let us know. We're going to put that as our, that was our teaser. So hopefully you let us know what Christmas movies you have. Cause man, that was good. All right. Let's get to some news and notes.
News and notes from around the queue.
Oh, news
and
and notes.
Trying to hide something in those baggy pants of yours, right? Would you?
Oh, news and notes from around the league presented by Integrity Lawn Care. If you're looking to get your lawn taken care of next year, check them out on Instagram or give them a call 506-868-8218 or give them a call. Give them an email at integrityLawnCare@hotmail.com. It has arrived. The news. The Bathurst Teton have been approved for sale and are headed to St. John's, Newfoundland in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know how it works, and I just don't want to. I want it to last. I want it to work. I don't understand the logistics of it, and that's why I'm a podcast host instead of a guy to try and understand the logistics. We are going to try and get a guest in Newfoundland to find out how this is going to work in Drew Feltham, probably early on in the new year. But so conflicted, like exciting to have a new team.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been here for 6 years, but I feel gutted for the fans in Bathurst. In this situation.
Yeah, for sure. But it almost lines up perfectly. The team deserves a hockey team. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there's an expansion, junior A team that goes there within the next year or two, or if there's a relocation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too nice of a rink for it to just be for U18 games or for high school games or for that matter. It's just way too nice of a rink. So yeah, it's a good community. They support their hockey. They like their hockey. It's just tough. Financially, it's tough. Some of these teams have had a hard time recovering since the COVID shutdown year, and this Bathurst just seems to be the first victim. At the same time, it's good for Newfoundland. They've been deserving of a team.
Yeah.
I actually found a funny tweet, I guess, the other day where someone said they should name them the Newfoundland Sealers because in Quebec it translates perfectly to the Fuckarl de Telnev. So add that one to the name list. I wouldn't mind coming on this show every day and saying Les Fuckarl de Telnev.
It's like Johnny Rocco when I say for your what it translates to for him. Can't say it on the show on TV, but what it translates there. But I think the biggest part too is the reason I want it to work, and I hope it does work. And again, the businessmen that I've added, one is like a brewery, one is a hotel chain. So
Steel Hotels,
just stability for the players, the coaches, the staff. Like
those are deep pockets.
Yeah. Just in general, just some stability because I mean, like I said to you last week, like imagine you're a Wildcat fan your whole life, and in the past 5 years it's up and down, and will they be sold and won't they be sold? Will they it sucks that they're finally going to have a stable owner, but it's going to take them out of Bathurst. But I mean, we could have 3 new teams in the next 3-4 years.
Yeah. I mean, there was a potential for American expansion too. But yeah, look, a good ownership will keep the team around for a while.
Yeah.
Right. And, Steel Hotels is a very well-known company in Newfoundland. They're on all 4 corners of the rock, if you I don't know if it's corners or whatever, but they've got hotels in Gander, Cornerbrook, St. John's, kind of all over the map there. And a brewery is never a bad idea because I mean you can probably have. I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with a branded beer, for the hockey team and sell it at a discounted price, right? It's just going to fit perfectly into the I guess the 19 plus crowd. It just be nice. It'd be great if it was the Dildo Brewing Company that was kind of behind it, but
hey, that's exactly where my head went at too, because that's. I mean, I've never been to Newfoundland, and that's one thing we have. That's one thing that we've talked about. Like, we don't know where life's going to take us in 5-10 years, but if it takes us out of the Maritimes, we better freaking get to Newfoundland before it costs an arm and a leg to get back.
Yep.
Over here just to go to Newfoundland. So, that Drew Feltham.
Yeah.
He had a tweet that's ready for Q's best new rivalry, the St. John's Hockey Club taking on the St. John Sea Dogs. And then I think Tozer had one too where he's like, we're back to Q's maritime best rivalry, the SNLs versus the SMBs. So they rate themselves, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Please don't go with Hockey Club. For the love of God, please don't go with Hockey Club. Just no, absolutely not. Just start your process now of whether you go with a different jersey or a different name or whatever. Just don't be Hockey Club. Please. What else we got in the news? Well, we got a top prospects game in Sherbrooke.
They're changing the date, apparently. Do you hear that?
Oh, yeah? No, I didn't.
There's talk of them changing the date because they don't want it to be early in the season. It's literally in the preseason. They plan this game to be in September. Not like a mid-season thing.
Why wouldn't you plan it when the CHL top prospects? I mean, I guess your top prospects won't be at that game, but I mean, that was one of the things this year with the Q only having 2 players in that CHL USA game, which prompted the OHL to have theirs. I think it's the Connor McDavid Cup or something like that. Now the QMJHL has theirs. I wouldn't be surprised if the WHL follows suit, but why wouldn't you have it like?
Yeah, so it literally says here, the prospects game will be the highlight of the opening week of the season, which includes a training day for general managers, coaches, and therapists on the Thursday, in an onboarding day for players on the Friday and the game on the Saturday. Well, they decided to change that. So now I don't know when it's going to be or what, but just why would you even have it the first week of the season? Like, don't you have to identify the players
that are the top prospects?
Yeah.
Because you can't put it in, like, I was like, well, March break, like when the kids are out of school, you can't put it there because it's too close to playoffs and you want it to be an actual game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think they're going to be kind of roped into when the CHL top, like that end of November.
At any time but the beginning of the season. I mean, you need to identify your top prospects first. I mean, there's probably going to be players that aren't even in the league this year, right? That are going to be considered a top prospect next season. It doesn't make sense. It needs to be a November or a December thing. September to me doesn't make sense. So hopefully they move on from that.
Yeah, 100%. And Team Canada was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Team Canada, 2 Quebec players, Matthew Catafor from Rimouski, and what's that other guy's name?
Ethan Gauthier?
Ethan Gauthier. Yeah, that's it. As part of the crew. Again, every year in this country, it gets overproduced, overmade, overhyped. It's all about who didn't make the team more than who did make the team. And the expectations are if they don't come home with gold, it's going to be, you didn't have this guy. You didn't have this guy. I mean, TJ Ginla makes sense now since he's going for surgery. But, I mean, it looks like a strong team. But, again, I don't follow all of it. But, again, most of the talk was who you didn't take as opposed to who you took.
It's always like that. I mean, Canada could have 2 teams in this tournament, and they'd probably both win. They'd probably be up for against each other in the gold medal. So, but I think this is actually. I'm looking over the rosters. This could be the most competitive World Juniors they've had in many years.
Yeah,
like Sweden looks good, Finland looks good, the U.S. looks good, Czechs look good. It's going to be extremely competitive tournament. So for people who think it's walk in the park for Canada, may want to check yourself before you're saying stuff like that.
Before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be an extremely competitive year.
Yeah, and there was that's what happened. Trades were finalized. On
there it is. That was
Dear QMJHL, don't do that.
Yeah,
Sundays for people like us that have to work on Mondays and have regular jobs. We like Sunday Christmas trade periods, and it stops 85 people from asking me what's going on. Like I know what's going on. Where do you want to start there? You want to start with our own team, or you want to wait till the end for that one?
Man, there was a few big ones.
There was way more this Monday than there was last month or last year on the opening night.
The Fauchon trade was absolutely insane for a 20-year-old. I mean, that's a player that's, maybe going to play. So what? There's 32 games left in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
If they, you're maybe playing what? 60 games if they go all the way.
Yeah.
To pay that amount for 60 games. Unreal. I don't think it's done. I don't think that trade's done.
There's no way it can be done.
That's a trade. I think the number of picks involved there.
So to recap that, it's Fauchon and a second round in 2026 to Rimouski.
Yeah.
For a first, second, third, fourth, and sixth in 2027.
Yeah. So I think what's going to happen with that one is I think it's going to end up being probably a first and 2 seconds at the end of the day.
Yeah, because what did I say to you that was coming back?
There's no way that's just
that's a comeback trade. There's no way that's done.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that you're looking to make it. Yeah, I was thinking like the 2, the 4, and the 6th come back at the draft. So it's a first and a third they pay.
Yeah. So what
does Rimouski have to send back to that to give?
They don't even have to necessarily send anything back, right? This could be like a Gabriel Forte trade where Moncton paid second, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and at the end of the day, it ended up being 3 seconds. Yep. Right? It doesn't have to be necessarily a player involved. The picks could just be upgraded. So it's tough. It's a very steep price to pay for the 20-year-old, but he's also the leading scorer in the league. So it makes sense, but it's just a lot. It's a lot. And when I looked at it first, I was like, this is like an 18 or 19-year-old trade.
Yeah.
This is not a 20-year-old trade. So if that's the market, yeah, if Fauchon's getting that.
Because Fortier was a 20 when we acquired him, right?
No, he was 19.
19. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
because that was a second, third, fourth.
Yeah, and ended up being 3 seconds at the end of the day.
Grew for 19-year-olds, 2 firsts and 2 seconds and a first.
Mm-hmm.
McIsaac was a first, 2/3 and a fifth. I don't think we've seen a trade.
That's
even for a 19-year-old. I think it's been quite a while since you've seen a trade that big for a player.
That's just the way it is this year. It's Mem Cup year and all that, but that's monumental. That's a steep price, and they're putting all their eggs in a basket.
And they don't have any eggs left in their basket. That's what's crazy.
They're gonna need if the rumors are true and they're getting Matejko from St. John.
Yeah,
they're gonna need to. It's gonna have to be roster players going to St. John.
Yeah, because they gave up, and then they weren't done. So Maya Leving, who you wanted here, It's funny the players we talked about ended up getting traded, just not to Moncton.
Yeah,
a first and a fourth. Then one that I think came out of left field for me. Lou Levesque and Jack Martin over there for Quinn Kennedy in a second.
Yeah, it came out Sunday after. It kind of leaked on Sunday when I was walking through Walmart. I was kind of upset because you're right. I wanted Jack Martin.
Yeah, we both did. And I think we thought Jack Martin was going when we had Colin on here. Like, you're in a rebuild, everything that's not nailed down is going. But I just didn't think that would be the spot for him. I thought it. Originally, I thought we were going to be lucky enough to get it, but I didn't think Rimouski was looking at Jack Martin. Because what did you say? They got 9 defensemen now?
They've got 10 on the roster now with the addition of Jack Martin. The only thing if they have a Swiss defenseman. So my only assumption is that he's going to St. John in the Matejko trade. That's the only thing that makes sense because their other Euro is Pavel Simic, who they got from St. John.
Yeah.
Can he go back to St. John? Probably not.
No.
Right. Yeah. So they need to. Again, I don't know, but that's the only thing that logically makes sense to me. So that would be one defenseman gone. And they've got some defensemen in Rimouski that have been healthy scratches for, a little bit that, could be valuable pickups for other teams. But yeah, 10 defensemen right now is you don't see that ever.
No. And then the other team that was probably the most active, Cape Breton, we heard they were going to buy. I don't yet see that they're going to buy in these 4 deals. Etienne Desjardins, Louis Gendron, who when everyone heard the rumors of a Gendron going to Cape Breton, it was
Justin.
Alexander Guy from Val d'Or, and then Emile Ricard was shipped to Chicoutimi. So they're full of player cards then. If they had 2, they shipped out 1. They now have 3. They brought in 3 players.
They shipped out Desjardins. Brought in.
Oh, they shipped out. Yeah, I thought they said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they shipped out. So they still got 1 left.
Which is probably going to be that BCHL defenseman that they're getting.
Yeah.
Andrew Brown. There you go. I broke it. Sorry. Whatever. What are you going to do? Yeah, so the Eagles,
not our team.
The Eagles are signing Andrew Brown from the BCHL. Defenseman. That's pretty much it. The 13 and 14 Cape Breton Eagles are all in with their winning percentage of .484.
Yeah, because you're going to have to. Oh, man.
2 points behind the St. John Sea Dogs.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. Obviously, Guy from Val d'Or was the Reinhardt kind of trade. They got their picks back for that one. Gendron, doesn't scream all into me for a GM that talked about going all in and making some moves, and maybe being 13 and 14 just kind of changed his mind, and he just wanted to bring in some different players to kind of move things around and see what happens, see if they can find different line combinations. But yeah, a ton of trades on this Monday, or on the Monday. We don't know what's coming by the time you hear this show, but Moncton made one deal, Maxime Cote, for a third in 2025. So we still have, as of the recording on Monday, 2 seconds in 2025, a third and 2 fourths. Our first, fourth, and fifth in 2026. And then we could have paid the Justin Gendron pricing of our first, second, third, fourth, sixth in 2027. I mean, if that's...
No, thanks.
Like, I don't even know if I'd give that up for number 9 in Baie-Comeau.
You know what? I would, because he's 18 and you can flip it next year.
But are you going to get that return back enough to make it worth it?
You're not that.
But enough of a return to make it worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys on this team right now. Like, if you look at the 05 group, there's a lot of guys that will be able to get, because you're only going to be able to keep 3 of them next year. And it's going to be loaded with 05. So I think a benefit to Moncton right now is being able to flip all these 05s next year to kind of, they could go and get, if it's rumored that Baie-Comeau is shopping the Bullard brothers and they're now shopping Justin Poirier. I mean,
did Rimouski just scare them out of that, or did their recent slide?
I think so. Yeah. So there's rumors now that Baie-Comeau is shopping the Bullard brothers and they're shopping Justin Poirier. So it looks like they've decided to kind of sell now. And I mean, just based on being able to, Moncton can do these strategic moves, right? And I think that's why the Fauchon trade is like that, because next year, again, Rimouski is going to have way too many 20-year-olds to deal with.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to flip them. They're also going to be like, we're rebuilding. Let's go and trade a Spencer Gill to somebody and get what Spencer Gill is worth. And so they have the assets to turn it around. And Moncton does the same, but in a different way. Whereas there's just going to be a boatload of 20-year-olds next season. They can just go, the prices aren't going to be as good. But, I mean, you look at the roster right now, all the 19-year-olds we have that are going to be 20 next year. Pick 3 of them to stay. It's tough. The rest of them, you were like, okay, well, there's no room for you, unfortunately. This is what we're going to do. You can...
Yeah, I think it's quite tough. I mean, it makes it a little easier that the 2 Euros... and possibly Sump.
Like, if Sump is back next year, he's not a Euro.
No.
Right?
No,
so
exactly. So
it makes things... I think he's got a pretty good shot of signing a pro deal. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just go through the list. Mercier, Lansbury, Collard,
Morin, Grenier.
Morin's already signed. He's not coming back. But guys that aren't signed.
Oh, guys that aren't signed.
Yeah. So Lansbury, Mercier, Collard, McKinnon is drafted, but he's not signed. Kluche,
Johansson, Mullen.
Yeah, like these guys, there's going to be guys that are going to be available to kind of go over next year and say, well, let's try to maximize, but we're getting a little ahead of the game here, and
it does change things. If
you can strategically make it work. Like, if you wanted to go out and get a Justin Poirier, you could, and you'd probably have to pay. Let's be honest. Baie-Comeau's argument will be, well, if a 20-year-old got this price, this is our price for Justin Poirier.
Yeah,
right.
And they can get whatever they can basically get whatever they want.
Yeah. But that's kind of where it's at. It's if they do decide to sell. Taylor McDougall could make a strategic trade and get him if he wanted it.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know if it's
like, are you thinking like with our picks that we have, like 2 2s, first next in 26, first, second, third in 27, like 5 or 6 picks. And then obviously some of that comes back for a 19-year-old or whatever. Like, are you taking from the 25, 26, 27?
Well, you'd have to take picks from every year.
Yeah, so 2 seconds,
make it work.
A first in 2026 and a first and a second in 27.
Like, I'm not the GM, but
no.
I mean, that's probably
roughly where we start for that.
But then you're looking at, there's probably going to be a very good player in our roster that has to go there to draft, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. So Cote, getting back on topic here.
Yep.
Because we're way out in left field now.
We turned it by saying I wouldn't give it for this. Oh, he's available now. All right. Well, let's shift to this now.
So a very good player.
Yeah.
He was very good in the playoffs last year, and he's the kind of player you want in the playoffs. Just physical, gritty, that 200-foot compete guy, penalty killing guy. I mean, it's funny how our first move was to get a penalty kill guy when we have the best penalty kill in the league. It's almost as if they're putting an emphasis on defense.
Yeah.
Right. We have all this firepower in our lineup, but we want to shut things down.
Yeah.
Like we want a team that's going to be in your face, shut you down, hurt you, and just get under your skin. And if that's the way it's going to be, I like it.
Yeah. Seems like you want to play 6'5". We have the horses that can play 6'5".
Yeah. You want to play 2-1?
If we want you to play our game instead of you dictating a grinded out game, we have the tools to play that. We have a guy in Cote that can play up and down the lineup for an injury, right? Like he scored 3 of his last 4, so price has never been higher. He's coming in on a bit of a heater there, 3 of the last 4, but it's just, I think it's 6 foot, 161 center, which just gives them more depth down the middle. And like I said, the last one of the last 2 lives, like Vidicek took what? 38 face-offs or something like that. Like every time you look at Vidicek, he's out there taking a face-off, offense or defensively. And I think that eventually starts to tax on a player. So
like it's a depth move. We talked about it last week. This team needs depth.
Yeah.
Right. And they went out and got it. They made the first move. And look, I know it's still early. You're going to want to be like, okay, well, if Rimouski is getting these guys, we're not just going to go get Maxime Cote. Right. Like we need to make a splash here. But I'm hoping the splash is done another way.
And I don't want a desperate splash. Like I don't want to. We have to go do this, and this.
Like what the Eagles did. It's desperation.
Yes.
Like if they go out and get Justin Poirier now, it's desperation because they're going to absolutely overpay.
Yeah.
And I think they overpaid for Louis Gendron. I think they overpaid for Alexander Guy. And
well, that one completed the Reinhardt trade, didn't it?
Technically,
because they just got the picks back, right? I think something like that.
Yeah, but it's just. And Maxime Cote was playing second line in Sherbrooke, and Louis Gendron was playing first line. So we got a second line player in Sherbrooke for a third. And Cape Breton played 2 seconds and a fifth.
Yeah.
It seems steep.
Yeah.
Like if you could make the argument that you could have gotten that deal done for a Gendron for a second and third. But to do 2 seconds and a fifth, it seems like a lot.
It does. When you put it, and like Rick said 2 weeks ago, like we look at trades, okay, this guy went for this, so let's evaluate the guy we're looking at and see how he compares. Well, that's a perfect comparison of a first and a second line player, and it looks like they came out on top. But yeah, I the fan base looking at what Rimouski did and what other teams are eventually going to do, you just have to take a breath because we're not in the big game hunting market like Rimouski. We're not mortgaging every pick in because they can do that. They're guaranteed to play in May.
Yeah. And Rick said it last week, and I've been saying it for many weeks. We made the moves we needed to make in the offseason when prices weren't as high, or we just got them for free.
Could you imagine what Vidicek or McKinnon would be?
Yeah.
right now.
If
that was
if
rumored all,
Beauchamp costed that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and he's a good player. He's leading the league, which yeah,
It's just yes, I understand we gave up a sixth overall pick to get Vidicek, but to me, I think I'd rather do that than empty my 2027 cupboards.
Yeah, I'd rather give up a known commodity than give up unknown, especially since Rimouski that's going to be a lottery pick for Blainville, right? So, or potentially a lottery pick. So, but yeah, that's the trade market is always shifting. By the time you watch this on Rogers TV at 9:00, there could be 4 more trades done. But yeah, let's get to your Q team of the week right now, sir.
Yeah, so a little different approach this week. We're actually going to go with my 3 stars of the first half.
Okay, in the
so
Q
it's not
or in Moncton?
The Q.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my 3rd star, from Maroon around a defenseman, Ty Higgins, currently is the leading defenseman in scoring and the only D that's above a point per game. Morin 29 for 29. I think there's a Loic Ursero was 28 for 28. So Ty Higgins is the only player that's technically above a point per game for a defenseman, which should be a surprise when he has 121 shots on goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, creating opportunities just based on rebounds will get you to be the top defenseman in scoring.
Yep.
2nd star, William Lassell, goaltender on Rimouski, with a record of 13-1, with already 3 shutouts on the season, and a .921 save percentage, and believe it or not, doesn't turn 17 until Boxing Day.
Wow.
So doing this as a 16-year-old goalie in the Q.
Wow.
Crazy. And I wouldn't be a homer if I didn't have a Wildcat for the first star of the first star of the first half. Obviously, Caleb Dinwiddie, 6 game-winning goals already this season.
Yep.
And leads the league in points per game.
Does he really?
He does.
Nice.
I did not know that.
No, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. Leads the league in points per game.
Well done.
Yeah. So there we go. That's my 3 stars of the first half.
No, that's a good 3 stars. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, that leads perfectly into the we didn't have a Q team of the week. Obviously, I'm guessing because some players have been traded. So maybe they just left this as is, but just trying to find where
almost 2 points a game, 1.6.
Wow. That's he's easily going to smash his 56 point total from last year. Yeah, I feel like he's got a good chance to do that. The Q player of the week nicely ties in number 18, Caleb Dinwiddie. So that is the 2nd Wildcat. It's almost like you knew, man. It's almost like you knew. That is the 2nd Wildcat of the first half. Player of the week for the Q, Jacob Steinman in week 6. Caleb had 2 goals and 5 assists, or 2 goals and 3 assists on the week. Might hear about him just a little bit later on in the show.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's the Boucher 3 stars of the first half.
Yeah.
The Q player. That means we get to talk about
the first time you'll hear 3 stars that weren't picked by Craig Eagles.
Weekly Rewind.
Or Chris Corey.
Or right? Chris Corey, right?
Yeah. It's got
we're up there.
Yeah.
Just whenever.
Just wouldn't mind getting a chance.
Yeah. The Wildcats went 2-0 on the weekend, bringing their first half record to 24-5-2 for 50 points. First in the Maritimes, first in the conference, first in the Q. On pace with the 1920 team.
Yep, right there.
I had that stat. Moncton was 24-9 for 48 points, 130 goals for, 90 goals assists, 15-2 at home, 9-7 on the road. Power play was much better, 27.1 with McKinnis standing in his office and Spence just feeding the muffins to wire at top shelf. PK at 82.4%. And obviously we are 11-3 and 1 at home, 13-2 and 1 on the road, 23.9 seventh power play and 86.2 on the PK. So again, it's really tough to shy away from those comparisons, and I'm not going to do it as we go on in the second half. Like, oh, they did this in this month, they did this, but it was good to go back and look at what we had. And the leading scorer at the first half in 2019 was
in
the league.
In the league?
Yeah. If you had to guess.
Oh God. Drawing a blank here.
Played in Rimouski.
Lafreniere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lafreniere, 23 goals, 70
Wow.
points. So Fauchon has 50 leading the league right now. And Lafreniere had 70, Cedric Paille had 62, and Havanov had 53.
Havanov was third in scoring.
20 goals, 33 assists. Peltier was 7th.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even think Havanov was that good.
When he finished the year with 99 that year.
Floater.
Now, how many of those
Not a
are
fan.
power play points? I don't know.
Not a
but
fan.
what?
You know, Justin Carbonneau's third in scoring, but he's a -1.
Yeah.
Like, get some even strength points, buddy.
That's called power play points.
Like,
with
you
that
are a
guy.
power play
Yeah.
producer.
That's a power play specialist. So Friday, we made some history at the Avenir Center.
Good luck without Fauchon in the second half.
Yeah, Friday we made some history in the teddy bear toss game. Took a little bit longer than expected, but like I said, Denway made history. It's got to be. They got to be the only two brothers to ever score for the same team against the same team, basically 5 years to the day. That's probably not so much a stat, but yeah, I didn't know if we were going to throw teddy bears or at what point.
Yeah, that idea of throwing them on the first intermission was looking good here. Going into the third period.
Or the 10 minutes or the last 5-minute break. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah, that was
Ooh.
painful. There was a lot of frustrations up in the media booth there Friday night.
Mhm.
But you know what? They persevered, tied it up, got the lead late, gave up a late goal. Didn't like the late goal either. Wasn't a big fan.
No.
It was like a Mighty Ducks to either clean the trash from in front of the net.
Yeah.
They didn't clean the trash from in front of the net.
And that happened in that Gatineau game too.
And then got a break in overtime. You know,
yeah.
Harry Clemens with a 4-minute high stick on Desnoyers. I mean, Moncton was basically on the power play the entire overtime and got their first power play goal in 16 attempts.
Pretty much, yep.
So they kind of, got the monkey off their back there. And
I think they were 1 for 19. Without counting the game where they scored like 1 for 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
But after that game, yeah, they were 1 for 19, I do believe. And 49 shots against Fleming. Like he was
a rock star.
He was not going to let the teddy bears fly. It's funny, Bathurst played the teddy bear toss in Moncton, then when Saturday played the teddy bear toss in St. John as well.
Tough go. Fleming was a rock star that game.
Oh, he was so good.
Making me annoyed. If you're a goalie and you get me on my nerves, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Gabe Smith winner in overtime. Great play by Karch to kind of get it going there. And it was as frustrating as it was. They won the game. That's how it's been lately.
And that's what Gardner talked about.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be pretty. They've had 3 overtime wins in the past 6 because you asked him about the offensive scoring, and is there a dedication to defense now? And yeah, he said we're winning these greasy games.
Yep.
We're not fans of it. We'd like to come out and beat you 5-1, 4-1, just take it easy. But I mean,
well, we did it Saturday.
Absolutely. Helps that Bathurst needs to learn to skate.
Oh.
Yeah. What's diving?
En français, plongeon.
Oui. Yeah, and then Saturday, just
they were like
Brandon
Lavoie. They were practicing for the Fucker de Telneuf. They were
yeah. One of the funniest moments, and it was completely unattended.
It was really good. Yeah.
Completely unintentional. Was halfway through the game. PAL Airlines had an ad for Newfoundland and Labrador.
Experience Newfoundland.
Yeah.
PAL Airlines.
Yeah, it was on there Saturday too. But the
Ugh.
fact that I hadn't seen it all year, and then it happened to show up against Bathurst, I giggled to myself. Saturday, yeah, they started fast. They took advantage of an inexperienced backup, and they just 7-2 just didn't let up.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's probably the best final home game of the first half they played since we've been doing this podcast.
By a mile.
And I believe the 7 p.m. start was a factor.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think it's, it was weird because, you don't expect much when you go into these final games before the break. And they just look so energized and so excited to be at the rink. And the game itself, just the way they played, had a different vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like we hadn't seen them play like that since, the end of October. It was just a different, they had a different energy to them. And it was a very, very good effort.
Yeah.
And I don't think they didn't take their foot off the gas, which was great. They didn't let Cape Breton get back in the game.
Even though you did mention, like, when they got up 3-0 in the first period, like, they got to get out of this.
Yeah,
or
like they got to get the next one kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
or at least get out of the period.
Yeah. It's the power play had a different look. Wonder why. Not going to mention anything.
If you were there,
Power play had a different look. It wasn't as
stagnant,
predictable.
Yep.
They were just whipping it around,
and it went 2 for 4.
Yeah, they were whipping it around on the power play Saturday. Different look, different setups, and it worked. That was the best the power plays looked again since the end of October.
Yeah.
And you can kind of read between the lines here as to what I'm saying, but it's pretty evident with what was different Friday compared to Saturday.
And we've been mentioning that a few times, is change some things up. They had to out of necessity, but it looks like when they're moving, and you were watching the Rimouski game in the intermissions, and they were snapping
whipping it around. They whip it around.
And Moncton has the ability to do that. They showed they have the ability to do that against Cape Breton. And that's exactly what they did. It wasn't kind of a stagnant power play. I didn't think, many times Friday against Bathurst, every time. And I noticed your little, what do you call it? Nuance that you were talking about, how if they win the draw, they're fine.
Yep.
They lose the draw, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And Friday, they couldn't get that puck in the zone. It was drop back. Luckily, they won the face-off in overtime and didn't really have to do it because it was a 4-on-3. But
keep away.
Saturday, they were winning face-offs. They were getting the puck in. They were moving it around. They were making things happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, McKnight's tweet that these two teams were going to battle all season long, and Moncton's just kind of taking it to him in the last two home games. Dylan McKinnon with a big fight. He will likely miss the St. John game due to that fight. And as my wife put it, I wouldn't want to fight Dylan McKinnon, but he can fight for me at any point.
Yeah, I'll take him as my bodyguard.
Yeah, absolutely. Take him as bodyguard. We had some history. 182. That is courtesy of Marty Kingston on Inspire FM and the Wildcats Twitter. 182 points for Etienne Morin. You just saw him. You could see the weight of the world lift off him. He was. You could just see all the emotion come out. You knew he was trying to get that before the Christmas break. Talked about on the post game with us that he said to the boys if he didn't get it, he was going to cry for the 2 weeks that he was home. And it was pretty cool to see it live. Luckily, it happened at home. Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned, I'm glad it was a goal. I didn't really care. I wanted him to get the record, but before Christmas, but I'm glad it wasn't like a secondary assist from the other end on a pass just outside the blue line. The guy skates it and makes a one-touch pass, and that's the record. I'm glad it was a goal.
Yeah, he's having a really great season, and he's the points record he's got, and I think next is the goal record because he's only 8 goals behind
8
Sanford.
goals away from that, yeah.
So eight goals to tie James Sanford's goal record for defenseman in all time. So he's having just a different year. If you look at last season, he finished a -9, and he's already a +13. So it's amazing what a different coach staff partners can do for you.
Yeah.
He's having that 17-year-old season as a 19-year-old. If he would have had a season last season like he did, like if he would have progressed, he would have had this record last year. Which is absurd. But yeah, he's just on a different level this season, and he's really taken over. Good
thing he's overrated, eh?
He's so overrated.
So overrated.
Like, it's unbelievable how overrated this guy is.
Yeah. You know who else was overrated? This guy.
Hi, my name is James Sanford at Morrison Family Motors. I just want to take the time to congratulate Etienne Morin on beating my record with the Moncton Wildcats. I was lucky enough to hold the record for over 20 years, and it's nice to see that a fellow number 5 finally beat my record. I also want to take the time here to thank the fans and the community for all the support over the last 20 years. Stop by Morrison Family Motors and help me break a new record.
He shoots, he scores!
Jimmy from Alma.
What's funny is I didn't realize he was 5 until you sent me that video. I was like, hey, wait a minute. He was number 5 too.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
That was pretty cool.
Very good number 5.
You put that together, didn't you?
What?
That video? Put that together?
I had
nothing
to do with that video. Absolutely nothing.
No. But
great guys over at Morrison's though. Great guys. That's where I got my car 2 years ago.
They were a stick tap of the week 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Matt Cadet and the fine folks over there at Morrison's. I'd like to cut them a promo right now, but I don't have anything up in my mind. But that was awesome. It was good to see that, and
we're hoping to have him on.
The new year, just kind of talk about his career in junior hockey and what he's up to now. And we're working on that with James, and probably sometime in the new year we'll have him on.
Yeah, and that's how the first half ended. So when you look at the first half, I mean, we put the stats up there. The easiest thing to do is look back to the Memorial Cup seasons and how this stacks up on these 2 years, or the 2 years they went to the Memorial Cup in 2019 when they were going to win the Memorial Cup. But I guess just your overall thoughts on the first half by this team.
Yeah, so I think we mentioned a couple of weeks, for the past couple of weeks, there's some players who, we'd like to see their productivity increase a little bit. The Collard goal, against Bathurst.
What a shot.
What a shot. I mean, he's got to use it more often. And I think, just kind of him coming down the off wing, I think is what surprised Fleming.
Yeah.
So we'd like to see that, him use his shot a little more and, start putting some pucks in the net. And other than that, defensively, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong to say about the defense. They're probably, we needed defensive guy. We needed shutdown guys. We needed physical guys. And we probably have the best second pairing in the entire league. McKinnon and Johansson is, I would be scared to go up against those guys on the ice. We've seen them hit, Johansson's kind of chipping in offensively when he can. And, McKinnon's not so much. I know he's trying to do what he can for River Minor hockey, but the points aren't there. I think
more fights than goals.
Yeah, well, I think the defense is the best in the league. And
I don't think it's just those two. I think it's the elevation of Morin from last season, Grenier,
and
AFG, Simon Mullen, who we had no idea what he was going to be, and I said it to you early on. I said it to Craig up in the booth. He's Sean Stewart. He just does everything right. He's not going to wow you every night. He's going to make the simple plays, but he's going to be stable on that 5th, 6th pair.
That's exactly who I'm looking at him as right now as Sean Stewart. Like it's a very quiet, good free agent signing.
Yeah,
there's people out there that think he can be upgraded on. if he's gonna be a third pairing guy, I think he's progressing as the season goes on. That's what you want. You want someone back there that's not just gonna. You're right. He's not gonna wow you, but he's progressively getting better.
Yeah.
He's getting smarter. I think every time he's on the ice, which is good. I think there's room for a move.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see move. I know it's going to be tough because we've got two 20-year-old forwards and a 20-year-old goalie. All three are important pieces of the team, but I think a 20-year-old defenseman would be ideal. And I mentioned the name of one earlier in the show. Now that's going to involve some movement.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Hey, if you can get a guy, let's look, Ty Higgins. If you can get a guy like Ty Higgins, a right shot guy on your power play, that's clearly able to get shots through traffic. That's a good ad. But again, got to make a move.
Yeah, and there's a few 20-year-olds. And there's a few 20-year-olds in the league that could make their way to the hub city.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that are taller, more offensive, friends with other defensemen on our team. Mateo Mann, big, tall defenseman. That's what Moncton's looked at. Tivvy's leading the league in defensive scoring. Brady Schultz.
He was. It's Ty Higgins now. Yeah.
Brady Schultz would be a good piece. But the defense, like we said, it's just nice to have systems. And what did we talk when Gardner was hired? Is the one game we went to, the one systems. They play systems. They play smart. They play without the puck. They help each other without the puck. And I think sometimes when they get away from that and they try to get those long stretch passes and get too fancy, I think that's where they get in trouble. But when they're helping each other out and they're supporting the puck, and I think the other first half kind of look back for me and recap is the team's able to play whatever way you want.
Yep.
And they got out to a 21-2, 21-3 record. I guess you can say they stumbled down the stretch, but they were still putting up wins, and they were still gritting it out. They were still making things happen. They got to get a backup goaltender. They got to get starts. I don't mean they got to get a backup goaltender, like find one, but they got to get starts. They have to. You can't. He's on pace to play 58 of the 64 games, and that's too many.
Yeah.
So I think, are they all hard starts? No, but still, 30 shots in an easy game is still too many shots when, game on could have played. And I know you probably want to give him that last start before the break because he's going to get a full 2 weeks off. But I think that was the time to get Rudy because depth, and we are one goaltending injury away from having no idea what we're getting, and I think that's kind of the part that scares me. But I think this top six has been fantastic. It took a bit of puzzle piecing, Tetris, if you will, but. Denway, Sumpf, and Pekarchek have just been
lights out
dynamite.
Yeah. And it's absolutely insane. Because I came on here in the beginning of the season saying Pekarchek was going to be a premier player in this league.
Yeah.
And he got off to a slow start, and I was like, geez, what are we getting? Is this the real guy? Is this the guy I saw last year in the USHL that was dominant?
Yeah.
He's getting there.
He's
right?
Third in scoring.
Yeah. He's going to go to the Worlds, the juniors. Probably he's going to be Slovakia's best player.
Yeah.
Some's probably going to be Germany's best player. And if you're smart, when that tournament's over for those guys, give them a week off. I mean, like that first game back from the World Juniors for both those guys. I mean, because let's be respectful here. It's Slovakia and Germany. They're not going to make it far. They're probably out quarterfinals,
which is like the first or second, January 1st or 2nd.
And when's the first game?
Back January 3rd against Halifax and the 5th.
They can skip those two.
Yeah.
I give permission from the podcast studios here.
At least one of them, like the home game, But
I'll give them both. I mean,
yeah,
there's no need for those guys to play those 2 games. They can come back the weekend of the 10th and 11th of January.
Yeah,
just
pick them up in Ottawa on your way to Gatineau and Rennes, because right after those 2 in Halifax is that road trip. So just pick them up in Gatineau on the way. Especially if their families come out for this.
Yeah.
Let them have that extra time in Ottawa. Pick them up in Ottawa. They're there for the game in Gatineau.
Yeah, I wonder if Véronique Arsenault is going to be at that game. Think she's going to be there at the game in Gatineau?
She better.
Guaranteed she's going to be there.
Guaranteed. Unless she's home, but she should be back to school.
She'll be back at school.
Yeah.
She's not going to miss that one.
Yeah, I kind of felt we both picked Pekarczyk as our MVP, and the first couple weeks we're like, uh-oh. And
he's not far off.
He just had to. It was the same as Tybell. Like, he just had to get used to it. Sumph last year just had to get used to the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And now those two, they find each other. I mean, it's been a nice little find for those 3. And
I would like to see the first line start contributing a little more. I mean,
the first line, of Denway, Sumph, and Pekarczyk.
Aren't they the second line?
No, they're the first line.
Are they?
Yeah. Depends what night it is, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yes, they are doing the bulk of the scoring.
Yes.
But, I mean, it would be nice to see, Loshing, Vidicek, and Mercier get it going a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to really show off the depth on this team.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Third line's good. And, Cote is just going to add right into that because he slots right in between Gabe Smith and Grenier for 11th in points with 15. He just slots nicely into there.
That's really how good our first 2 lines are. Yeah. But no, like, where is he? So Sumph is 13th in scoring right now. Pekarczyk is 18th. So, and what's his? Where's his horse face there? Dinwiddie's got to be here somewhere.
Dinwiddie 7.
Yeah. So if those guys keep going at it, I mean, it seems like a big jump, but Pekarczyk is 15 points behind Fauchon right now. Don't know if he's going to make it up, but yeah.
But we could have 3 in the top 10.
We could have 3 in the top 10
at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we get the right line combinations with the second line, Vidicek could easily just continue to climb up there because, who else? Mercier, big second half. Like, these guys, Mercier and Vidicek are 10 and 9 points behind Pekarczyk. So there's a chance they could move up. I guess grades on the first half. I mean, your forward group, it's pretty tough to go anything but A's.
I'll go A- for the forward group.
Yeah.
Just based on just the productivity. Productivity's there. But I do want to see, it's almost crazy for me to say I want to see more from Loshing, Vidicek, and Mercier. But it's true, kind of.
Yeah.
Like I expected the goal totals from Loshing and Vidicek to be a little more at this point in the season. But they're not there. Mercier is just having a phenomenal year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Loshing and Vidicek, I'd like to see their productivity go up a little bit. Can't say enough about Dinwiddie, Sumph, and Pekarczyk. The third line is doing its job, and the fourth line's doing its job.
Yeah.
So just A-.
Very limited roles.
Yeah.
The fourth line, like that's where I'd like to see a couple of these depth acquisitions that end up pushing guys down or up, depending how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get a trusting fourth line, and I'm not saying he doesn't trust them, but if you can elevate that fourth line to play, that's going to bring down the minutes of that top line, which doesn't tire them out. I mean, there was one shift there where Vidicek looked like he was bagged because he had to take the draw on the penalty kill, stay out, take the next draw. Like, you need to have that depth all the way down. So I'm going to go A because I do like when those guys do get their limited minutes, they are making things happen. Defense wise, I mean, I'm sticking with an A.
I'm going A+ on the D. I have absolutely no complaints about the D right now. They've honestly exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, all right. I'll go A+. You got me. Granny just needs to get that one.
Yeah, he just
And
needs a goal. Goalies,
goalies. I mean, he's a top 3 goaltender. How can you go anything but? Man, it's just so hard because we have not had a backup, and when we have, yes, our backups are 5-0. They've gotten us 10 points, but they played a combined 5 games. Like,
yeah, see,
27 of 29 starts or
Mhm.
27 of 31 starts is just too many. So, I mean, I'll go A- for Steinman because he's been good when he's needed to be, but there's been games if you're a goaltender 10 the goal a couple times. Puck movement is needs some work. And sometimes he just looks tired. Just when he's playing 3 or 4 or 2 in back-to-back nights, it just, for me, it's an A-, and it's just a trust factor because it doesn't seem like they trust the backup to go in and get a quality start.
Yeah, and that's not on him. That's on the coaching staff. So that's, I memean, you can't really put the blame on the goalie there. But,
But it's just an unknown. I don't know. I don't know. So
yeah. I'm with you. I'll go A-. I mean, he's one of the top goalies in the league, and I'd like to see him get a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why these 2 weeks are nice.
Yeah.
Stay off the ice there, Jacob.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Just play Monopoly.
Yeah.
PK A+.
Oh, easy.
Power play
B-.
B. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
get it going.
Yeah. B. It started out A+.
A+ in October.
And then it just stop us if you've heard this before.
Pass me that mini stick for a second there behind you. All right. Yeah. Just so I can kind of show you what the power play's been like lately. That's the power play lately.
Yeah. Well done.
So mix it up a little bit. Just give us some different looks. We've been used to the same thing for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Just like to see a little bit different here in the second half.
Yeah. And again, it's like all last year, number 1 power play. It's really cool to have it, but score when we need it. Score the big goal, score the GCP. Now into the second half, we're not going to go like preview games or anything, but what do you expect? Like, it's tough when you don't know what a roster can look like. Again, some of the names we hear will fortify this roster. I don't see this being a 15 in a row win team roster.
Not the Maritimes division.
No, but I see it being pretty much what we have, like 100 points, and almost a carbon copy of the first half with a couple wins here and there. I don't think they achieved the most wins of 52. I don't think they achieved the most points. They will not get to 1,000 wins this as a franchise.
No, that's right.
They need 40, and there's 32 games remaining. So statistically,
we'll get it next season.
Impossible.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
I mean, there's 2 Quebec trips in this second half.
Yep. Gatineau, Rennes, and Val-d'Or in January, and then Rimouski, Sherbrooke, and Blainville in March.
Yeah, so I think you can probably, we've got 5 regulation losses.
Yeah.
I would like to see the regulation loss total be under 12. That's all I'm saying for my second half prediction.
Okay.
7
losses.
7 losses in the second half, I'll be happy with. But keep that loss on that loss number under 12. 12 or under.
It actually sets up schedule wise, like it's almost I don't want to say easier second half, but they got Rennes, Rimouski twice, and Drummondville at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Blainville and Sherbrooke, but Sherbrooke seems to be selling off. And 2 against Blainville. So they got 5 kind of top games. The rest of it is Maritimes and Quebec teams that are lower than them in the standings. So,
yeah, and the tendency of playing down to your opponents, I like to see change in the second half.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. Like, it sets up to quote unquote be an easier schedule. But I don't want to see, Val-d'Or in overtime or Victoriaville in overtime.
Yeah.
Like those are the games where that I've been talking about. Those are the Rudy Guimond gives time in the rest starts, and the team is good enough to not have to worry about him making a big save down the stretch or getting it in overtime or whatever.
Yep.
5 loss total. I mean, you said 12. I'm like, yeah, I would like to see it not be double digits.
That's too rich for me.
Yeah,
Too
which
rich.
is only 4 losses, which is pretty tough considering we play St. John a whole bunch and they seem to be a pain in our butt. I want first in the conference. I want
first overall. I mean,
yeah, that's right. Oh, sorry, overall. I want to be the number 1 team. I want to have home ice advantage throughout the playoffs.
And those 2 games against Rimouski are going to be big.
Yeah. And the other reason I would like that first overall in the conference and in the league, I guess, too, is we avoid Rimouski. I want to avoid Rimouski, not because I'm scared of them, but if I'm going to play them, I want to play them in the finals.
Yeah.
So you're guaranteed.
Best, yeah.
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 Best on best. You're guaranteed to play in a week. That's what I want. And I think this team has the ability to, I mean, if they play the way they played in the first half, they only had 5 losses, and some of those were because they just didn't show up. I mean, yes, St. John's going to be worse in the team that's been a pain in our butt. All these teams below us, Halifax, they're going to get worse, but you can't play down to them. And I think that's got to be the staple of not playing down to them. And with this depth, I don't want to talk about load management, but these guys need to play easier minutes. We can't so much rely on 3 lines for most of the fourth line almost has to play a little bit more.
I agree.
You think Etienne gets most goals by a defenseman in a year?
Oh, easily.
25?
Yeah.
Think so? He's at 21. That was the most he had that in a 17-year-old season. So
25 goals in a season is the most a defenseman has had in franchise history.
By Keith Yandel in 05-06.
Wow. Oh, that's
most
easy.
Most assists is 64.
Yeah, I think he's easily got that one.
I'm just looking at some of the records and seeing if we kind of get to any of them. Personal wise, I mean, points by a defenseman 84 will be tough. Points by a rookie, that's going to be almost impossible.
Come on, champs.
Yeah. Lights out. Who are you most excited to see in the second half?
Who am I most excited to see in the second half?
I think first half it was Gabe, right?
Yeah. Gabe delivered.
Yeah.
I don't know anything, but I'm going to say the player I'm looking forward to most in the second half is not currently on the roster. So
we'll come back to this in
not
3
saying
weeks.
anything.
We'll come back in 3 weeks and see if your player that you're most excited about that wasn't on the roster now is actually on the roster.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I went with
the best is yet to come, folks.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's a hashtag right there. What? The best is yet to come.
All right, that's exciting. I went Grenier, and he's played, as we talked about with the defense square. He reminded me of Bouchard. He made a lot of great offensive plays, but the defense was something to behold. I think he has picked that up along with everyone. So he was my first half. In the second half, it's Vidicek. It's giving him another centerman to ease the defensive zone draws. Players to be named later that might be on his line that he has that chemistry with. I think we're going to see the Halifax Marcus Vidicek that just kind of takes over. So it's Vidicek for me that I'm excited to see. Are you ready for everyone's favorite part of the show?
Sure.
Eric Murray, Realtor. Buy our house from him. Stick Tap of the Week.
So once again, I'm gonna bring it back local because screw Jeff Bezos. So Adam and I have been fortunate enough to kind of been able to get a little closer with this team over the past couple of years, and I think we did this last year with Michelle. But I think the stick tap to close off the first half is going to go to our lovely Lauren, comms director of communications, whatever her job title is. We'd like to say that she's the reason that the Wildcats have kind of had success against the Eagles. She wasn't around. She only came around like last year, but she's been so good to us and giving us that player access and letting us have guys on the show and Rick and Taylor and Gardner and Alex Gauthier and it's just nice to kind of have that relationship built and the trust that we can have these conversations with the players and not have to be almost babysat like we've been in the past, right? Literally having 3 or 4 years ago interviewing a player and then having to send the interview to the communication department to listen to make sure everything's approved and then
to hopefully get it out
out there in time for the show. Like those days are over. It's nice to kind of have that relationship built within the organization. So so I want to the final stick tap of 2024 will go to Lauren, and I wish I knew how to pronounce her last name because I always completely butcher it. Malali.
Yeah.
Okay, that's her it is. I wasn't sure if it was. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. Anyways, Lauren.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the Remax Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
That was a great stick tap.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. No, that was a good one. We'd like to have her on the podcast to talk about.
We kind of joked about that, and she said she's a behind the camera person.
Yeah, and that will never happen. But you know who we should line up for the show? March 3rd, which would set us up for International Women's Day. Mallory. Should have Mallory on to talk about her career from Churro to NIU, I believe.
Was it something Polytechnic Institute?
Yeah.
Rolly Chester?
Yeah.
Is that
like
Rolly
that.
something?
Yeah.
Roly-poly.
I really should have learned this before I said we should have her on. And then into Europe and then obviously back here and all that. I think that's a perfect one. All right. That brings us to the Wildcat of the Week presented by Rosemary, Lynn Massage and Spa. Right now they've got the teeth whitening. Starts at $85, 3 15-minute sessions with your price. Add another 15 minutes for only $20. And don't forget, they've got the loyalty card, 9 spa services. Get one free. Call them at 506-830-1224 or stop in at 1224 Mountain Road. All right, we're going to a Wildcat of the first half, not of the first week. It's a pretty simple one. Something I'd also like to see in the second half is I'd like to see this player with the C on his jersey.
Yeah.
It is time. I understand that you don't want the year-to-year captain, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it's time to put it on this kid because he feels like he is what we are as a unit. When he's out, the team just doesn't play well without him in the lineup. 2 goals on the weekend, including the teddy bear toss goal, and wasn't the prettiest. It was just greasy, and it was in front of the net, and got that rally started. Then a goal and 3 assists against Cape Breton. He was the team of the week. He was Boucher's 3rd star of the week. He is the Wildcat first half Wildcat of the week, number 18, and future captain, hopefully, Caleb Denwaye. That's it, man. We made it through the Megalaepisode.
Oh, wow.
We made it through the Megalaepisode. We got 1 more minute. So for Justin Fournier from the live who wanted to know what our record in black jerseys are, it is 5-1-1 with an OT loss and a regulation loss to St. John. So I don't know how many times you're going to see those in the second half. But yeah, that'll do it for the first half of the podcast. No games. We got games after Christmas, November 28th or November. Imagine. Let's try this again. December 28th at home against St. John. Then they're on the road to St. John on the tour on Charlottetown on the 28th. And then the New Year's Eve game at 4:00 with festivities to follow So get your tickets for those games before the new year. And we want to send a big shout out to all of our guests.
Yes.
Pat from the Eagles, Corey Arsenault from the Islanders, Tozer from Station Nation, Johnny Rocket from Bathurst. We got to get him on one more time as an ode to the Teton. Colin Landry, the Moose fans, Louis-Philippe Gagné of the Bacomo Car, who he covers, Mike McMahon and Austin Robson of Puck Preps. And of course, as you said in your stick tap, the Wildcats for all of our post-game interviews, and Dylan McKinnon and Rick Melanson for joining us. And we are hoping to have many more guests in the second half. So guys, please have a safe, happy holidays. Mr. Jeremy, I would like you to have a safe and happy holidays. Thanks for joining me each and every week in the first half.
It's a pleasure. We'll be back here in January.
Yeah, it is correct. We are not going anywhere. And one of us is going to be a new dad in January. So yeah. All right. For Jeremy, I'm Adam. We will see you January 8th.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.